in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which is where this webcam is and where the audio is coming from. If you got any comments or questions for us, write in Force13. You can also follow Force13 on Facebook and Twitter, search Force13 all in text, or you can add Fool13 on Skype. That's FOOL13. Joining me, my name's Nathan Foy, by the way. I'm joined by the Skype team for this next hour. It's a packed live event at the moment with 8 people here, well 7.5. One of them is a duplicate, 2 Davids in the room, but we've got 7 here. Hello everyone.
Hello. Packed house.
Good evening.
Yeah.
I would say
so
it's a full house.
Make sure you take it in turns to speak, because it sounds so unprofessional when everyone's interrupting each other. It's going to be a tough hour for me, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
Let's
oh dear.
Let's get the latest position update, which is on the screen. I don't know whose screen, but it's on the screen. There's the 9 p.m. position update. Would you like to read it out, David?
Thank you, Nathan. Okay, 8 p.m. Update.
9 p.m.
9 p.m. Strong wind, storm surge spreading northward along the Georgia and South Carolina coast. The wind gusts at 63 miles per hour was recently reported at the Hilton Head Airport in South Carolina. I'm just going to pause on the advisory. I did cite a posting that the eye is very close to the Hilton. No, there was an island within 100 miles or nautical miles. I think it was up in Georgia there. It was an island off the coast. Anyway, it'll come back to me. Private weather station at Tybee Island, Georgia, reported a wind gust of 65 miles per hour, wind gusts of 50 to 60 continue across much of the Jacksonville metro area. Now, something that we've been highlighting is the scene at the St. Johns River. Water levels remain high and wave height 3 to 4 feet of storm surge inundation reported at the Racy Point, Red Bay Point, and the I-294 bridge gauges.
Oh, I should have muted myself there.
Oh yes, people were moaning at you last night, John, for coughing too loud.
Yes, yes, I should be careful.
Yes. David?
And location of Matthew, 50 miles east-southeast of St. Simons Island, Georgia, 55 miles east-northeast of Fernandina Beach, Florida.
Very northern part of the Florida beach near Georgia.
And the wind factor remains the same, 110 miles per hour, and movement north at 12 miles per hour, and central pressure 948.
And it's ever so slightly east of north as well. There's the weather cam from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and still not all that windy there. It is inclement, and that's why no one's out in it, and that's good news because that area is one of the many places under the hurricane warning. I wasn't hearing you the whole of that advisory, David, but I assume you read out all the warnings.
Yes, I did.
Yes. So that is one of the places under the hurricane warning on Myrtle Beach. And of course there are some flash flood warnings in effect for several areas, and I'm going to read out these notices now because it's been a while. A flash flood emergency for Egan's Creek, Amelia Island. That's until 9:45. A flash flood emergency for Jean Lafitte Boulevard, Blackbeard Place, Starboard Landing, Portside Drive, Crosswinds Drive, Ocean Sound Drive, Ocean Bluff Drive, Ocean Oaks Drive north and south, Seagrove Lane, Sadler Road near Egan's Creek, High Rigger Road, Robert Oliver Avenue, Ocean Ridge, Drive and Amelia Terrace Court. And also a flash flood warning for central Duval County until 9:15, so that's shortly. Flash flood warning means that flooding is imminent or occurring. Flash flood warning for Chatham County, Liberty County, Long County, Bryan County and McIntosh County in southeastern Georgia, as well as Beaufort County and Jasper County in South Carolina. That's until 9:45. And I think that's all of those. But then you've got the flood warnings as well. Wayne County in southeastern Georgia, eastern Pierce County, Brantley County and northeastern Charlton County has a flood warning until 11 p.m. Flooding is likely in those locations. Also a flood warning until 10:30 p.m. for north central Nassau, Camden and Glynn counties too. And anywhere along the St. Johns River might be an issue, though I believe they're predicting only moderate flooding now and not major, though I think the worst point has gone by.
And it looks like the major area over the next several hours is the Savannah region.
Savannah, yes. Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah,
In fact, one of my friends was down in Savannah doing a family thing, and he had to evacuate this morning to Atlanta. And he's still, again, winds are still kicking up there, at least 30 miles an hour. So yeah.
I think we were talking a little bit about Savannah earlier, because we noticed the last few frames of some of, like, you know, the satellite and radar images that the storm has kind of stopped moving east of north and is starting to move just more northerly in particular, and that if it keeps that route, there is the potential that it ends up making landfall near Savannah.
Is he going to slow down? And one comment or posting on Twitter, is he going to snug into that area? In other words, if I was on a boat and I wanted to go into a port overnight and sleep there, is he going to slow down and possibly stall?
Here is the current shear right now. You can see here that Matthew is getting embedded into some stronger shear. It was definitely stronger than it was yesterday, at least 30 knots, as you can see here, if not higher. I need to choose a different color so everyone can see that better. So yeah, you can see here that, that's pretty much been the case where the system is. You can see this pocket of 30s just surrounding the system here. At the same time, looking at Nicole, it's right on this periphery of like 60 knot plus shear. So it's not surprising that it's looking like this. This is no big surprise. All right, but we're not really too concerned about Nicole right now. We're worried about Matthew. I did notice that. Do you think, Nathan, that it's a combination of a lot of factors here that have weakened Matthew? I'm thinking it's more of a combination of all the dry air in Matthew's vicinity, plus the wind shear, plus the land interaction. I think those three factors are working against it.
But if dry air and land interaction were more of an issue, this storm would be a Cat 1 or a tropical storm by now. It's still a Category 2, and but the more north it makes it, the more it manages to go north, the more wind shear will work against it. So it's not in Matthew's interest to go north, but storms do gravitate poleward, so it will go in that general direction. And before it turns round, as it's sort of given a no entry sign by the high pressure, and then it will turn back south.
Do you think it will be significantly weaker because of the upwelling and the cooler waters where it's going to be tracking over?
No, I don't think so, because waters are sufficient all the way to the outer banks. No problems at all.
No. What I'm talking about when it loops out.
That is something I've wondered. I do wonder what exactly their reasoning is about that. I don't think sea surface temperatures will be an issue. It must be the wind shear, or maybe that the dry air continues to move towards the east and really gives the storm a hard time.
it looks like there's this ridge setting up right here, according to the wind shear graph. You can see that Matthew is getting sheared from the southwest, according to this graphic here. And Nicole is getting sheared from the north. So it looks like there's this upper ridge that is causing this upper level shear on both of the systems.
Yeah, and you can hear in the background a lot more rain falling now at Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. Seems that a rain band might be moving ashore. Has anyone got the radar right now?
I'm back.
That'd be helpful.
Again, here's the current track. Definitely hurricane warnings are still up through the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. There's a hurricane watch for a short stretch of North Carolina coast. And then there's a tropical storm warning for the Outer Banks, mainly.
And the inlets.
And Cardigan,
Yeah.
David?
And the National Weather Service SPC tornado watch is in force.
Yeah, that's till midnight, and that's been in effect for several hours.
Because of all the wind shear in the area, I'm assuming.
And you can hear in the background the rainfall really starting to come in at Myrtle Beach. So it would be nice if someone could get up the radar so we can see exactly what's happening.
I always found that the water vapor here is always giving me a good view of what's going on at the mid-levels. Alright? You can definitely see here that there
Good
is...
idea, I'll do it.
I'm trying to see what's going on. There's this... I think there's this huge
Reloading this.
trough in the... That's what my... That's
Yeah,
what
we'll
my...
get there in a minute, John. I just want to show everyone what the radar is doing right now. Yes, there are some significant bands moving in, and one of them moved through Myrtle Beach, which is where the webcam is, and some more on the way. So things are going to start to get worse for the coast now as the storm moves closer and closer during these overnight hours. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm just bringing up some radar, so I'll be with you in a minute or two.
Yeah, I've just shown it now, so that's fine. I just wanted to get it up on the screen there for a while. John, as you were.
Yeah, it looks like there is also this trough building in here to the west of Matthew's position, and it also is not, and the trough is, I think it's positively tilted, which means that this trough is not going to be picking up Matthew and slamming it into the east coast. No. The only way that would be the case if this trough was negatively tilted. It's not negatively tilted, it's positively tilted here. So it's acting more as a blocking thing than more or less than, something that picks up Matthew and slams into the east coast, which is unlikely at this point, since it's more acting like a steering thing, steering current-ish contributor. Also, you can definitely still see the ridge that's built into the northeast here. Maybe it's not really coming up clearly in the upper level radar. It's hard, not the radar. Shear map. Definitely, if you can tell, it's Friday for me. Regardless, recon right now is in the system.
Ah, they are?
Let me reload the page. Yes, it is in the system. It's
that
always
was
been in the
finished.
system. In progress.
Looks like,
Oh, is that one in progress?
Yes, this
looks
one's in
like they're
progress
trying
up
to
here.
that is really confusing. Because this plane, for like the past 45 minutes to an hour, has just been like circling around near Tampa. I don't know
Yeah,
what's
they're
up
not
with
in
it.
they're not in the storm.
So it looks like they tried to make an eyewall pass here. That was probably what was going on here. 80 knot. Really, there's no good data right now. That's the sad part. No good data at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
on the
bad
system.
news for the meteorological side of things.
Yes, I need data now, please.
Yes. Well, there's not too much we can say on the ground either, because, the latest from the coast is just that we're bracing for impact on the coasts of South Carolina and Georgia for the storm surge and also the high winds, which could reach hurricane force. But I reckon the surge is fast becoming the biggest issue, and you saw that flooding from St. Augustine earlier today, and it's going to be worse than that in Georgia and South Carolina in some places. I don't know where it will get worst, but I imagine with those flash flood warnings, including, I think it includes Charleston, and did it include Savannah? I can't remember, but certainly Charleston could be some problems there and in the other places in between. We're here until midnight.
Yeah, clearly.
We're here until midnight this evening, and then we're going to conclude our coverage. By then we'll have broadcasted for 104 hours, whilst Matthew's been doing its thing through the Caribbean and the Western Atlantic, and we're going to be going off the air. However, there will continue to be videos on the Force 13 channel at regular intervals during the rest of the storm, so you'll want to stay tuned. And obviously we track storms all around the world at all times of the year, and you'll be seeing many more videos in the future. But anyway, who would like to go next? Or if you've got any questions, by the way, in the comments section, start your message with Force 13, we'll get to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to point something out interesting.
Go ahead,
It
Strat.
makes it easier for us to read.
Yeah, I was just gonna say something quickly. I've been looking at the couple of the model runs. It's kind of interesting. Some of them are still putting it back down south, but it seems like some of the models are kind of flipping back and forth, showing a battle of dominance between the two areas of high pressure that are going to be forming on either side of Matthew. We already have the ridge, the Bermuda High. That's something that's kind of giving it part of its steering flow, but the blocking high is also blocking it from moving out to sea right now. It actually looks like as the blocking high moves east, it's going to start a battle of dominance with the other strong area of high pressure that's going to be over, the central and, kind of the plains area, sort of, but more like Missouri, Illinois, into some of the southeast in 3 days or so. It seems like the models are hinting at a fight between those two to see which way it goes, whether or not it tries to push it back south or just out to sea and eventually towards Nova Scotia and Newfoundland.
Yeah, I'm currently looking at model runs, so let's see.
I know the HWRF and the GFTL are trying to push that.
GFS actually significantly re-strengthens Nicole. That's odd. It's a very small system, don't get me wrong. Might be affecting Newfoundland according to GFS, but you know what? I think this model run is probably worth a screen share, so I'm going to get that up and running. If you don't mind, David. So,
You got it?
yes, you can see here that Matthew completely just, what's the lack of a word? It's completely gone. You can tell that right off the bat.
Wow.
Look at here. This is actually strengthened a bit to 981, which is telling me that's at least a Category 1 once again. And you see here, oh god, my arrows are not working. Why? Oh jeez, it's one of those days. Give me a minute. Everything just doesn't want to work. You can see here that what's left of Matthew is more or less a surface low that's by the Bahamas. So I think that there's a little interaction here, it looks like. Not much of a Fujiwara, but you know what I mean. Bit of an interaction. Looks like that blocking ridge that's off the coast of New England just goes away. And it looks like Nicole strengthens a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if that's Category 2 once again. We can look here. We can continue through the run itself. It strengthens to 963 millibars here. I mean, it looks like at this point it's beginning its transition into an extratropical cyclone here. You can definitely see, if you look close enough in the image, you can see the developing cold front right over here on the side of the system. You can definitely see that, very clearly pronounced on the model run. And it might brush Newfoundland before becoming post-tropical.
Yeah, I'm sorry
And
to
linger.
butt in,
And linger a little
but I was gonna think. Yeah, I'm sorry to butt in. I just wanted to say it looks like the big difference between the model runs that are saying Matthew kind of curves back as it dies out, and those that try to carry it just east and then northeastward is that the ones putting it back in southward kind of show the area of high pressure over the southeast and plain states of the United States completely dominate over the blocking high and push that completely out of the picture.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then the other ones that show it, eastward and then back up northeast, kind of give the blocking high will turn into the location-ish of a northern Bermuda high, a better advantage, or at least have it survive and kind of have them, like, the two high pressure systems kind of work in a symbiotic relationship.
Oh, this is interesting. The GFX is predicting a double hit. Look at this.
Yeah.
They're predicting Matthew to re-strengthen into a tropical storm at that latitude, because look at the pressure right there, 984. And at that latitude, that's a tropical storm. That's not a hurricane. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It looks horrible. And it looks like that Matthew might actually brush Newfoundland, or actually linger off the coast more or less. Then again, listen, this is 300 hours out, and usually 300 hours out is really like saying, it's like looking into a crystal ball and not getting much, and it's pretty foggy.
I was going to say, though, if you take a look at the HWRF, it actually moves it there significantly faster.
So,
and, has it there by 5 days out. It's a pretty strong extratropical or barely tropical cyclone.
Yeah, maybe take a look at the HWRF, or HWRF.
AKA the God model.
Yes, we love to call it the God model. It's been the best performing one this year.
Stop calling it
I'm actually going...
Everyone's stealing my nickname.
No, Hank. No. I was about to say, Hank started it, not me.
Not anymore. You're not going to say that now.
Sure. HWRF actually strengthens Matthew just a hair bit. And, actually has it ride the coast.
Inland briefly.
Inland,
and right
really
to the
briefly.
Outer Banks as well.
So yeah, and look how strong those winds are.
If you switch back to the 850 millibar wind in the lower dynamics thing, MSLP and 850 millibar winds, you'll get a better look at what the high pressure situation is with those two highs.
It looks like that Matthews looks like a mess up here at this latitude. It looks horrible. That's definitely post-tropical at that point. It looks horrible.
Anyway, people want to know whether there's going to be a big hurricane before the season ends.
Never know.
You don't know, all right? The NHC hasn't tagged anything, so for now we're somewhat in the clear. For a big hurricane in other areas, after Matthew mainly, yes. Matthews are currently big hurricane, quote unquote. There's nothing that looks
even expected in the next 5 days. That's about 1/8 of the time period between now and the end of the season. So
I mean, we could get something in November, because November is one of those weird months where something happens every once in a while, but not every time. We can take a look at Nicole's model here.
We are approaching the secondary peak, so that might be something to take into consideration.
Yes, we are approaching the secondary peak, and I was about to harp on the fact that these two systems are pretty much signaling that pretty clearly. You can look here on this model run. It says that... Ooh.
The HWR brings Nicole up into Nova Scotia as a pretty strong
what run is
storm.
this? What run is this? I'm trying to figure out if I'm looking at differing runs. Alright. Calm down. I need to calm down. I need to look at these runs.
No.
Alright.
I know the HWR kind of has Matthew, as Matthew dies out, pull Nicole with it up towards the Canadian Maritimes, and has Nicole strengthen into a 973 hurricane.
Anyway, Maybe Rocking wants to ask whether a Category 3 is in the making for Matthew. Not likely.
No,
unless you count that it already has been.
And I can hear voices in the background. I think that's from the webcam. There might be people out there. Let's see. Can't see anything on there, but sounds like there are people in the area. Hopefully they're not up to mischief, but hurricane warning, you shouldn't be out at this point. And the wind's definitely getting up in the last hour in that area, and the rainfall's certainly falling more. So things getting a little bit more rough there at Myrtle Beach.
David just posted something in the Skype chat. It doesn't seem like he's able to say it right now, so I guess I'll read it out. It says, This is from St. Johns County, Florida. There has been catastrophic, and that's the word that it says to describe storm surge damage from Hurricane Matthew on the southern part of Anastasia Island, which includes Treasure Beach, Summer Haven, and Crescent Beach, according to the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer Chuck Mulligan. Hundreds of emergency responders from multiple agencies, SJCSO, St. Johns County Fire Rescue, National Guard, Florida Highway Patrol, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, and Florida Department of Law Enforcement are assisting residents who did not evacuate, is what Mulligan said.
St. John's River sounds like a massive problem this evening, and tomorrow we'll probably find out the full extent. It always seemed to be, and we could see similar things going on along the coast of northern Georgia and southern South Carolina
for sure
over the next few hours as the rain bands come in.
Yeah, and David also said other weather headlines other than Matthew, that Jacksonville Beach residents will be unable to return to their homes Saturday morning, as ruled by Mayor. St. Augustine sees heavy flooding. 4 U.S. deaths now blamed on Hurricane Matthew, also sparking flash flood fears as well. And
5 deaths confirmed in the United States.
Sorry, I can't believe I was muted there. My bad.
And I appreciate that information being relayed while I focus on any other news. You've done
You can
well.
look here. 24 hours into this, it looks like the model guidance is pretty tight on what the system is going to really do. But if you look past that, there is a point right about here where things kind of split.
Those have really changed.
You have your models that are still thinking, it's got to do a little loop-de-loop. And you have your models that are probably most likely thinking that it's got to hit into Nova Scotia.
Gotta say, it looks to me like it's gone back to a 50-50 split.
Yeah,
it kind of has. And then again, I'm not really too surprised by this, because there's one thing I want to say. October.
I don't think the models anticipated Nicole to weaken as substantially as it has.
Yeah, I will say
it looks like it's falling apart.
Yeah, I will say one thing in terms of the predictions. I personally, at least, am kind of leaning towards it going back up north towards Canadian Maritimes, specifically because the models, almost all of them, were already wrong on that ridge in particular out in the east of Matthew. That ridge was much stronger than they forecast originally, and that's what kind of drove it towards Florida and southeast where it is now. So I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of are currently underestimating it again.
More or less, yeah.
Too far out, but it's an interesting thing to
get rid of that stuff. You can look further into this system here. You can definitely see it is doing that usual track we're used to seeing, something like this. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird the system's doing. It was it originally started right about here, and now it's kind of actually turning just east of north, so it might actually be missing Savannah. But I think I can see if I actually get some new frames out on this imagery here, because that would be really helpful. I think I have new frames. Yes, I do. Yes. Yay. New frames. You can see here that more or less it's taking more of this type of track. Looks like it is getting pretty much closer to the Carolinas now. Do I see Savannah? I think Savannah is in the worst of it, if anything, right now. But maybe
as in
not.
the worst
if you
that
look
it will
here,
get, yeah?
Yes. What I mean, yes.
Not the worst.
Then again, I'm like saying, let me actually pause the imagery here. Give me a second. I'm going to pause the imagery because I like to do my freeze frame analysis.
Yeah, as you do that,
I like
I'd just like to mention a question. Columbian asked if a hurricane can happen out of the season. Most definitely, Alex was a prime example of why the answer is yes.
Did you take a nap that time of year? Yeah, I get it. I understand. It's January.
We didn't.
You might want to hibernate.
We were doing live events on Alex.
Yes, I know we didn't. I'm just saying some people like to hibernate during January.
Yeah.
Regardless, it looks like the system's kind of developing somewhat of a dry pocket here. You can see here, not a whole lot of rain here.
Land
So maybe
interaction.
True. I mean, definitely. There's no moist water to have latent heat release. So yeah, that's clearly an issue. We look here at the latest. You can see here. Let me stop at the latest frame. You can see here.
Okay.
That's our latest imagery. See here that there's definitely something more or less of a dry pocket beginning to develop here. Which means that this system probably is losing some of its structural integrity right now. And I think it's more or less mainly because of this factor right here. You have your 30 to 45 knot shear. All right. There's at the
And
upper
John,
levels.
Just going to cut in. The National Weather Service, Charleston, has just put out a posting. They're advising the residents in the Savannah GA region to move to higher ground. The flash flood warning has continues until 5:45 a.m.
Yeah, so that's an extension all through the night there. It was 1:45 initially, so they've extended it all the way till morning.
And in terms of flooding, I also noticed David posted a storm surge chart from Fort Pulaski, Georgia, with the predicted above normal compared to the actual. It does look like, for sure, the whole time it's been far above what they predicted. Actually, the
Really?
latest surge was actually almost 10 feet.
And it was predicted to be what?
Roughly right around 7.
That's a
So,
whole meter.
worse than expected in that area in general. I'll actually Google up where that is. Let's see. Oh, look at the maps. It looks like
Colombian wants
it's
to know
right
what
next
paint
to
app you're
Wilmington.
using, by the way.
Hmm?
Oh, it's Epic Pen.
Yes.
I know
Epic Pen,
because-
yes.
I know because you downloaded it because you saw me use it.
And I've got it too, and it's a handy tool to have.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you used it. I thought I was the one who used it first, but I guess I was wrong. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I started using it like 2 days ago.
Well,
I was
Those
using
two
it before I joined.
yeah,
Yes.
and I've got it too. As I said,
Well, Fort Pulaski is right along. It's on the Georgia side of the South Carolina-Georgia border. It's pretty close to Savannah and Wilmington Island, give or take, 10 miles from either. Really, a little bit closer to Wilmington than the whole metropolitan of Savannah. Probably 25 from most of Savannah, like the heart, but that area in general, the coastline surrounding it, have had worse storm surge than predicted.
Okay, current time 9:34 on the East Coast, and conditions aren't getting any better, at least for Georgia and South Carolina, though Florida, it is slowly starting to leave the area, but St. Augustine and Jacksonville not looking great at these hours either. Well, not Jacksonville itself, but the area around it. St. John's River in particular, a huge concern.
and the rainfall factor's not looking good either.
Yeah. For Florida, they might actually end up getting a backlash or back end rain band from a storm that's kind of flourished over land for the most part.
Yeah.
If that manages to kind of try to curl around instead of just staying to the northwest of the storm as it's currently doing.
Nathan, could you possibly provide me a link to the radar feed on the system right now? Because I might want to do a little annotation to that imagery.
If you go to the National Weather Service and actually just click on the Jacksonville province area, it'll, instead of go to the actual warnings, load up the radar from
I didn't have to say a
Jacksonville.
word. Strat told you what to do.
Well done,
What?
Strat.
Come again?
If you
I
go to the
couldn't
National
listening.
Weather Service and click, like on the home page where you see all the warnings, you just click on the Jacksonville area of the map. Instead of actually zooming in and loading the warnings, it'll actually just load a radar.
Oh, nice.
Not sure if you could call that convenient or inconvenient, depending on what you're trying to do, but I guess we could call it convenient for now.
So I'll just click where the warnings are?
Yeah, just click on that region in general, like,
Okay.
Southeast Florida, or...
Oh,
Northwest
beautiful.
Florida.
There's the loop. Alright, here we go. I got my loop running. I'm going to get my screen share back up, because that's... Oops, sorry, I missed that one.
Yeah, it would be very
I've been
helpful
keeping
if you
that.
did bring it back up. Yeah, there it is.
I've been keeping that in check this whole stream tonight. You can see here the eye wall is looking actually a little bit ragged on radar. If I actually trace a line, it is a bit kind of messy. So you can definitely see that you have your pocket right here of higher convection. I think that's because that's the strongest section of the storm's eye wall at the moment.
Certainly looks like on satellite.
Yeah. So that's not surprising. You can see
Yeah, I would
here
agree.
that Savannah is getting currently blown in here with winds. So storm surge is a thing now. It's not as was there storm surge before in Savannah, or is it now peak time for your storm surge in Savannah?
Yeah.
Well,
in the
what is
Savannah
happening
area?
is that the tide is rising all evening, so it's it's going to get worse.
Yeah, you can see here. You see your winds kind of really kicking in here. Currently, if you're in Florida right now, you're pretty much having receding waters, so you're okay right now. Unless your couch is floating in those receding waters along with your
obviously,
16-inch
what
TV.
What you mean is it's going to get better.
Yes, more or less. Trust me, I'm not sure if those things are covered by flood insurance. Regardless, you see here that I'm thinking that the strongest winds on land right now are in this sector here, since it's geographically the closest to the center. If I draw a line from here to here and draw another line from here to here, this is actually longer than that one. So this is geographically speaking closer to the center. So you're going to be talking about your highest winds here. But with some systems, that's not always the case. Sometimes you have your strongest winds defined to 1/4 of the system, where geography mainly doesn't really matter too much. I did notice, even though Matthew is getting heavily sheared, its structure is looking pretty decent for where it is right now and what conditions it's facing.
If you have any
Yeah,
comments, start with your message. Start your message with Force 13. Some people saying nice things, thank you very much. And Trista Fox saying, can this storm re-intensify to a major hurricane again? We've had that question earlier, but more opinions on that?
I'd say no. Like this.
Major hurricane,
Definitely.
I mean, that's if it gets lucky. That's like talking the minimum, like 5 miles an hour, which frankly is hardly likely anymore.
Like,
Let's all be honest here.
Yeah, it's unlikely, despite the fact that the current, like, if you just look at the current air pressure, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's probably a Category 3, unless there's, like, an unexpected convection, like, flare up and reorganization near the eye in particular, this thing won't reach Category 3. And, Chris M., too early to tell whether or not it'll hit Greenland.
It won't be tropical at that point, I can tell you that much.
He's been asking for like 3 days now.
Oh,
And then
Yes.
the models were actually showing
Running
it a few
joke.
days ago. So
That's going to develop into
Yes.
a running joke. Every storm will just say, and it's not going to hit Greenland.
And it's not gonna go across the Atlantic and say cheerio to the English either.
The Colombian says, could it hit Florida again as a Cat 1 or 2? Exceedingly unlikely right now. I know it's expected to go back into those areas near the Bahamas, but only as a depression. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think a single model predicts anything like that, unless you guys can prove me wrong.
Any model that I think it would predict that was probably the excerpt, which we can all agree is just the line in someone's imagination. But I don't think that even predicts it.
John, it's not a model.
wait, can you go to the GFS model? Go
Once
to
again, sure.
Yeah, go to lower dynamics and the 800 or MSLP and 850 millibar winds, and zoom out to the North Atlantic region. I found something really interesting in the model forecast at around in between hour 48 and 72. It actually shows as Matthew gets sheared, a system developing right along the coast of Nova Scotia, picking up that convection. That is, and then ironically brings it pretty close to Greenland.
I don't think that's gonna be anything like what we've seen like
in
the 91. That's post-tropical. Oh,
yeah, it's post-tropical regardless, but it's kind of interesting that it tries to pull that.
Definitely interesting that the.
You can see the block and high on this as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing in the UK at the moment.
So yeah, more or less, a lot of this model is mainly. Here's what the summary of the GFS run is saying right now. Matthew is going to dissipate and die, and more or less, Nicole might be a threat to Newfoundland. But again, this is the definition of way too far out. Hang on to your seats for this one.
That's for sure.
Will what? So will it hit Greenland or not?
Keep an eye on it.
Yeah, just watch your satellite picture, your local stream, and of course stick with Force 13. Regardless, yeah, Greenland. It's one of those things that is too far to tell at this point. I mean, Alex already affected Greenland this year, so you already had your fair share of systems. So why do you want another one? Is what I'm asking. But I'll let you.
Poor Colombian.
I'll let you.
Epic Pen is just for Windows. Sad to hear.
Yeah. Sadly, PC is pretty much the only way to go sometimes these days.
Yep. Better OS.
Yeah, it is. That's about it. All right. I'm done here. I'm done rambling. I've had my fair share of rambling. Anyone else?
Well, that's a shame. Oh, you're staying with us though.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm staying with us. I'm just done rambling.
David, you got any late news?
Not at this point in time.
Well, you can see Myrtle Beach right now getting pretty gusty. You can hear it more and more in the background, and there you can see it. The water looks like it might be coming in just a little bit closer, but still nothing serious to note yet. Still significant amounts of rain falling. This is, again, further away from the flash flood warning zones, but it's, what would you say, 50 miles away from those areas, or maybe a little bit more. But we'll be watching that over time, and maybe by the end of our stream we might see something different. But that's how it looks right now, and at least it gives us some sort of a raw ambience in the background whilst everyone's talking, and you can certainly hear how things are going on there. It's the closest to the storm where I could get a webcam, not least one with audio. So we're going to stick with this for the rest of the evening, I think. And if you've got any more comments or questions, keep them coming in.
Did a quick check of the power outages. It does look like now roughly 1.5 million customers are without power in Florida. So that's just, households and buildings. For actual people, like I've been saying, multiply that by at least 2 or 3.
And also I can give you information about power outages in Georgia and in South Carolina. In
I've tried to find that, not too lucky.
In Georgia right now there are 104,000 customers without power, which sounds like quite a lot. I'm not sure how we get to that number. Oh, that's why. Chatham, 49,000 customers without power there, and another 32,000 in Glynn, and all the other areas making up the 104. In South Carolina, I will get that to you momentarily. And here we go. 11,900 in Beaufort County, 16,000 in Charleston, 2,000 in Colleton, 1,700 in Dorchester, and all the others less than 1,000 each, making a total of 33,900 right now.
So, I mean, pretty bad in terms of the power outages in Georgia. It doesn't look too bad in South Carolina, and I say that yet. So it's not for sure at all.
You can also follow Force13 on Facebook and Twitter. Search Force13 all in text. And you can add Fool13 on Skype.
Yeah, more or less. That's a good way to go, mainly, you know.
Well, not more
You
or
get
less,
the-
that is the case, John.
That is the case, yeah.
And of course you can
Because-
visit the website force13.com. It's force-13.com. And there you can also find access to our live tracker and also to the fans chat room, which we maintain on Skype too, and things get interesting there every so often. Everyone's welcome.
Everybody is welcome, so if you want to join, go right ahead. If not, that's okay too.
Yeah, sometimes I wouldn't recommend it. Anyway, moving on. Shall we get some new
Yes.
satellite imagery? Who would like to show us that?
I need new images, please. Hank,
Maybe
do you have
some,
more
maybe
images?
some infrared satellite imagery wouldn't
I'm
go away.
here. Let's
I
see
can
if
pull
I've
that-
still got it up.
I can pull it up real quick.
Dude, that's just when you're using that as a desktop picture.
Yes.
It looks like a
The
Halloween
skull
skull.
has service.
Yeah,
Yeah,
talking
that's-
I
about
think
that
it's-
skull feature that it had
That is
days
just
ago.
hilarious. How that how Matthew
Been all
looks
over
like
the
that.
place.
I
Panic
still
going
don't get
wild.
it. I still don't get that skull. I don't get where it is.
It's when it was
What
making
it is?
landfall on.
It took me a while, and I eventually found it.
Do I like
No.
flip it sideways or something?
That
No.
is spooky for Halloween. That's for sure.
You see the eye of a system? That's the eye of a skull.
Here, I'll explain it to you.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
then there's a
here
jawbone
it's
and teeth.
so yeah, here's the eye. Here are the teeth.
Yeah.
Lower jaw, upper jaw.
Oh my god, I see it!
There you go.
Hey, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
That
Exactly.
was when it was making landfall.
Illuminati
Oh,
confirm
my God.
eh?
Oh, that
Illuminati
means
confirmed.
The realization.
Right.
Illuminati confirmed.
Rawr.
Yeah.
Scary. Save that for Halloween. Oh
That's-
wait, that's coming up.
It is coming. There's the
It already
latest.
feels like Halloween with all the clowns going around.
What-
Anyways,
what's our thoughts on the
Look,
latest
no more
satellite
clouds.
imagery? Getting weaker still, or maintaining, or what?
Yes, weakening.
weakening. Yeah, I would agree.
Cloud tops are warming.
Yeah, so I think it's down to Cat 1 already.
I
I
would
think
go
it
back.
makes it down to
I
100 and
I don't know.
I wouldn't say that
appearances
quite yet.
might not.
A
Appearances
little
might look pretty poor, but wind speeds won't go down quickly in a storm as large as this.
Nor is the pressure.
Hardly. I mean, Matthew
think
has
that-
grown
that's
in
good.
size.
Yeah.
Remember how tiny this thing used to be? It used to be tiny.
Oh, like 30 hours ago.
This
Yeah.
thing just got bigger. Then again, I
Yeah.
think this could be a function
Yeah.
of latitude.
That
But
is very
if we
true.
pay attention to the pressure of the system, it's
Still
very low.
948.
Hasn't
Yeah, it's
changed
very
much.
low very low for a Cat 2. It's pretty similar pressure to what Alex had back in 2010. And I
Yes,
know
not.
Yeah.
And we all know that's Cesar's favorite storm.
Yes, and he's very annoyed at the fact that Alex of this year formed out of season.
And that
But we'll get to that later. So, that's about it.
Yeah.
Beautiful imagery right now on Hank's screen. Do you have the straight up visible photo on this thing, or oh wait, it's nighttime. It
Yeah,
wouldn't
John,
work.
have you realised that the sun's gone down?
John.
I haven't looked out my window lately.
It's 9:50, please.
So sun's been going for 3 hours.
Oh dear, John, you're not
Oh,
with
yeah.
it.
Something to note, that is actually kind of fortunate for land, actually, is the hurricane force wind radius, at least for the two quadrants, southeast and north, or southwest and northwest, that would be most likely impactful on land. The size and radius of those winds has actually been decreasing but on the southeast quadrant, it actually looks like they've increased a bit, and northeast is maintaining.
Well, I don't think hurricane force winds have been reported on the coast for some time, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think
It
so.
does look like that radius is shrinking toward, like, on the coastal side of the storm, it does look like that part is shrinking, so that could be very good news.
And speaking of storms on satellite, really quickly, here's Nicole, and
What?
What?
I think that Nicole just had an expose.
yeah, it did. It did.
What the?
Yeah. Not so loud next time, John.
What?
Yeah,
Sorry, I couldn't control that
What?
one.
that's
What happened?
I'm curious. Did the wind shear host an expose show on Tropical Storm Nicole?
Looks like it.
Just saying.
please, and second off,
Yeah, it looks like that Nicole is being extremely strongly sheared, which I think
Massively.
too much emphasis.
Just
Yeah, massively. Yes.
But it might survive, you know. That flow over the end might just save it.
Yeah.
It's even more like this is even worse than Chaba, and Chaba was under over 60 knots.
Listen, this is better than Colin. You can't argue that.
Oh.
no, well, this thing
Come on
has
now,
at least
John.
closer to
That's kind of hard
This
to
thing-
watch almost.
this thing has one thing going for it. It has a close circulation.
Yes. Very
but-
true.
You can clearly see the shear on visible imagery. Just
Oh, that's rough.
yeah, that's not. It's pretty low down here, but
Yeah. To think 24
No,
hours
don't-
ago, this thing actually looked good.
it looked like a good storm. I wouldn't say 105, but it looked like at least 100, or maybe 98. Or
Yeah,
something.
and that's what it was. Oh, that's kind of sad almost.
Yeah, this
Sad
thing,
see-
fish.
it's supposed to
See a
supposed
storm.
to curve a little bit further south, and then eventually turn back north. But the year should be lightening up because Matthew's supposed to be over here somewhere.
Yeah.
Also, at least for Nicole, despite the fact that it's getting absolutely wrecked by wind shear, the forecast track doesn't look as drunk anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah, the storm definitely won't be meandering for a while. I mean, clearly, maybe it. Never. I should just stop there.
Do you think in those latest frames it's turning more northeast or not?
Oh, jeez.
Definitely
Matthew,
probably
a bit. It's just mostly in the last 2 or 3 frames, but you could definitely argue that it is.
I'll support the possible track to the northeast. So
Yeah, I can see it
It's
myself.
starting its turn.
Actually, I'm not quite sure it's actually the track shifting as much as actually a little bit of shear looking at the infrared for the last few
Who knows?
frames. If you guys actually
try a different infrared channel there, we might be able to see more from it.
yeah, if you go to the random, let me double check what it is specifically. The enhanced infrared IR imagery for the Florida.
I already.
It's not showing much. It
Well,
could
in
be
the
doing
last few
anything,
frames
right?
of
It's
it, like, you know,
difficult.
going into 1.5 for Saturday UTC, it does look like there's overall, like, you know, coastal
Dave,
side
that
is
could
like
be it.
overall wrapped around Matthew, but it does look like there's a lot more convection on the southeast side than the rest of the storm.
I just wonder there whether that flare-up is being... Whether that flare-up, you know, the reddish colours there, the most red colours, are displaced to the west of the storm, or that's where the centre is. It's difficult to discern.
The center. See the eye right here. It's probably in this area right here, or maybe it could have shifted back a little bit further west.
It's actually really hard to tell right now.
I
It
think
is.
the radar could be better.
We'll have to wait for the 10 p.m. position update in like 6 minutes to really be able to get a good grasp on that.
Well, that's
I
if
think I
they
heard-
know.
I thought I heard Orlando in the background. So hello, Orlando. How are you?
Hello, good evening. I think radar would be a better way to tell.
Yeah,
What
very good
direct-
red. I think we should be going a bit further north looking at the radar than the Jacksonville one now. Whichever one's further north than that, but hey.
Yeah.
That might just
That's
no. It looks like
Looks
still
like
with the
a-
Jacksonville one that it's just moving maybe just a little bit east of north.
But let's check.
Hang on.
And it looks like it is still. It looks like it's kind of moving due north. At least to me. Yeah, that looks like it's moving due north.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah, it might be due to make. It might be due soon to do things. So it's going north.
well, we're due a break, so we'll be back in 4
Yes.
minutes' time. This is Force 13 Live, the 10 o'clock update coming up after this. Stay tuned.
Hang tight.
Hang tight.